Hi, Sue. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Dementia Dialogues. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for
Good, good.
inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on. I'd love anybody coming on and sharing their personal experiences in any capacity. So thank you very much for taking the time to do that. Thank you. So for the benefit of the listeners then, could you just introduce yourself and a little bit about who you are?
Okay, so I'm Sue. I'm 69. I was diagnosed with vascular dementia in 2014 when I was 58. Um, I've recently moved from rural Herefordshire, where I lived with my partner Sheila of 32 years. Sheila sadly passed away in August 2024. So I'm still in very much in the grieving process.
Hmm.
But doing things like this is really good for my well-being, and I know she'd be really pleased to support me in doing this.
Absolutely, absolutely. You were both advocates for, or ambassadors, should I say, for Alzheimer's Research UK. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. The charity appoint ambassadors, and I had previously been a champion for the charity.
Hmm.
I've done quite a lot of fundraising. I've done some ridiculous things, but I've also raised a lot of money and awareness. And then last year, the charity invited us to become ambassadors together. Sadly, Sheila didn't get a chance to fulfill that role. So I sort of see this as something I want to continue, something we started together,
Hmm.
but that I can continue. Um, and that's my plan for the way forward.
Good. So you're flying the flag for both of you then, aren't you?
I think I am. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
Good. So did you get involved with Alzheimer's Research UK before your diagnosis, or was that once that had come about?
No, it was after my diagnosis. I was first diagnosed in 2014 because I had something called a transient global amnesia in
Okay.
2012, September 2012. I drove all the way from Hereford to Surrey with Sheila to a friend's house where the friend and I cut down a holly tree with my chainsaw. And I have no recollection of the journey of cutting down the holly tree. And I was just very confused. We thought perhaps I'd had a stroke or a TIA, but it became clear from various tests that it was this transient global amnesia, and it was suggested that it was fine and I would never have another one. But it became clear to both of us that there was definitely something wrong. Um, Although I'm reasonably articulate, I was struggling for words, and I knew that I was struggling, and I repeated myself a lot. So we then went through the process of getting a diagnosis for whatever this was,
Hmm.
which took 18 months, which I know a lot of people have a lot longer journey with diagnosis, and that's something that Alzheimer's Research UK are very keen to change, to
Hmm.
make dementia diagnosis a right rather
Hmm.
than pot luck. So my 18 months in the scheme of things, although for me it felt like forever,
Hmm.
um, for some people it takes a lot longer than that. But at
Hmm.
the end of that 18 months, I was told that I had vascular dementia. Um, and it was a heck of a shock because at that time I was very much part of the group of people who believed that dementia was old people and it was about memory.
Hmm.
And also, Sheila and I had previously had an elderly next door neighbour who had vascular dementia, and she went through some very horrible stages, and all that came to mind to me at the time. So I took probably 18 months or so to get used to the diagnosis and to think about what I or we were going to do about it.
Hmm.
Because we all have choices, and my choices were to sit on the sofa and get worse, or get off my backside and do something. And my GP suggested that running would be good for me. I'd never previously run. I was a hockey goalkeeper and I only ever ran from the goal to the bar. Um, so I took up running. I took up couch to 5K. And then I thought, well, come on, I'm a bit of a bull at a gate. And I
Yeah.
decided, never mind all this running 5K, why don't I run a marathon?
You went
So
from
I
5K to a marathon.
eventually, yes,
Yeah.
it wasn't couch to marathon. It was over a period of time.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I ran a half marathon, and I thought, well, if I can do this, maybe I could do a marathon. Having said that, let me tell anybody out there who thinks that running a half and then running a whole marathon, it's an easy step. It's not. It's huge. Um, but my GP actually supported me with that. She was a running coach. So I approached Alzheimer's Research to see if I could have a place in the 2018 London Marathon. And yes, I could.
Were you hoping that they'd say no?
Sort of,
Yeah.
sort of. When I was offered the place, I I can still remember the phone conversation. I remember saying, "Thank you," I think, um,
Yeah.
and I didn't tell very many people to start with. I just kept it to myself. I told my local running buddies what I was doing.
Yeah.
But the running is so good for my well-being.
Yeah.
It really does help. I don't like it. I don't actually enjoy the actual running,
Yeah.
but at the end of it, I do feel better.
Yeah.
Um,
And I can relate to that because, as you know, I'm a runner too, and
yes,
I'm really, really grateful that you've said for anybody that's run a half, don't be disillusioned. That change to a marathon is massive because that's something I'm contemplating at the minute. I'm a step closer. I've created a marathon training plan in the hope to do Manchester Marathon next April because I deferred it this year. I chickened out of winter training.
right.
But I'm in a slightly positive mindset at the moment. So next
Good for
step
you.
is that training plan. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Like you say, it's a
Yeah,
big step. So
yeah.
yeah, well, congratulations to you. Congratulations
Thank
to you.
you. Thank you. So I have actually started running again now here in Sussex,
Yeah.
and it's different. The environment is completely different because I was running in the leafy lanes of Herefordshire, not seeing anybody, and here I do see people, which is again good for my well-being.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's how I got involved with Alzheimer's research,
Okay.
and at the time the charity didn't have very many supporters actually living with dementia.
Hmm.
And so I think my story perhaps resonated. And the fact that, I am incredibly fortunate that I can still function at a reasonably high level, not every day and
Yeah.
certainly not all day, but I see it as a bit of a gift that I can still advocate for other people, and I sort of see myself as, to quote Wendy Mitchell, a dementia activist.
Yes. Love that. I love that. And having you on board for AR UK, I'm sure they are eternally grateful for, as well as somebody with lived experience. So, the transient global amnesia is something that I've never heard of. And you also mentioned TIA, that they thought it could possibly be TIA. What's that? I don't know what that is.
Oh, I can't. Transient ischemic attack.
Oh
That's
right, okay.
a sort of, believe it's a precursor to a stroke.
Oh right, okay, okay.
Which again, a lot of people who have stroke can go on to develop dementia.
Yeah, yeah, that's quite common, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So living with vascular dementia obviously brings its own challenges. And what have been some of the biggest adjustments for you that you've had to make in daily life?
Well, initially, and this is when Sheila was still with me, one of the real challenges was I have something called hyperacusis, which is sort of sensory overload,
Okay.
oversensitivity to noise.
Yeah.
And for example, I would be sitting at my computer or sitting reading, and Sheila would go to the kitchen drawer to get cutlery out, and I would leap 6 foot in the air. And initially, she would say, "What? For goodness sake, don't make such a fuss. I'm just getting a knife and fork out." But it did cause real problems for us because I was absolutely, for me, it was as though she dropped the cutlery drawer on the floor.
Yeah.
So it took quite some time to get a diagnosis of this hyperacusis. And I actually have little ear filters that I wear when I go out or when I'm in an environment where there will be a lot of noise or sensory overload.
Hmm.
Um, the other things that I struggle with are fatigue, mood swings. I need a lot of sleep, and since Sheila passed away, I do struggle with my sleep. Naturally, it's part of the grieving process. I think not to be able to sleep terribly well, um, and now I'm finding that Sheila did an awful lot for me. Because she cared for me, she loved me and wanted to support me. But I'm having to do all those things myself now, and that's really hard.
Hmm.
It takes a lot of brain power, which again is really tiring. So even something like going up to London, having to work out train times, getting the tickets sorted, I can do it, but
Hmm.
gosh, it takes a long time and a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Having said that, I have got friends locally, and my niece and nephew live very nearby and are really, really supportive and will help me with things. But I try to do as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. Do you have coping strategies then, like for things like, say, going up to London and negotiating train times? Do you have anything in place that helps with that?
Nothing at the moment. This is all quite new though, because I've
Okay.
only lived here for 14 weeks. Um, and I'm just getting used to living in a town. I lived very rurally before, so I'm now living in a town,
Yeah.
which is great because I've got everything on my doorstep. I'm still able to drive. I get my license renewed every year. It's a medical license, and there's always a lot of stress around that because I've got a dog and I need sometimes to transport her.
Yeah.
But I think living where I live now, I can see a time when I won't need a car. And
Yeah.
so, if the time comes when the medical profession don't think I'm safe to drive, and when I know, because I think I will know,
Yeah.
I think that the having lived rurally, it would have been a nightmare not to have a car. Living here, it will be easier. So, one of the strategies that I've got is that one of my nieces very kindly did me a grid that I have for every day, which has feed dog, take medication, walk dog, have lunch, rest, feed dog, walk dog, medication, go to bed. And
Yeah.
it's a wipe off chart. So I
Nice.
can use that
Yeah.
just to remind me, because I can often not recall whether I've done those things, especially if it's something that's a habit, it's
Yeah.
a ritual, if you like.
Yeah.
I can think, gosh, did I take my tablets today? And then I can go and look at my chart, or actually go and look at my pill box and see, oh, yes, I have taken them.
Yeah.
And it's all those things that Sheila used to do for me that I find are it's taking its toll on me, I think.
Mhm.
But I, I'm going to say I'm getting there, but I've got no idea where there is.
But you still, sounds like you're still finding your feet in a new environment as well.
Yes, yes,
14 weeks is a short, a short time, isn't it, to be
yes,
in a new
yeah,
home and a new town. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot, you're navigating quite a lot really, aren't you?
I am on top of Sheila's passing was hugely traumatic. It involved me doing CPR, and it was all very, very difficult. So leaving Herefordshire was absolutely the right thing for me. There are too many reminders there, too many people who knew her. She was involved in such a lot there.
Mm.
Um, but having said that, just because moving is the right thing doesn't mean it's been easy,
Mm.
and it isn't. It's very challenging,
Mm.
but it doesn't have those daily reminders that I had in Herefordshire.
Yeah, so it's a balance, I suppose, isn't it? It's difficult, but yet,
Yeah.
like you say, you've not got the reminders, so there is that positive there as well, isn't
Yes.
there? Yeah,
Yes.
and it sounds like you've still got that good support network with having your niece and your nephew close by, and new friends as well. Yeah.
Well, and old friends actually.
Oh,
The
good.
the
Oh, good.
friend the friend who live. There are two friends who live locally, and one of them said to me, "Save me a 5 hour drive to Herefordshire and move to Lewis." Um, and because I actually didn't have a clue where I was going to go, I knew I didn't want to stay where I was. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And as I say, it is the right thing, but it's not easy.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll get there. I'm absolutely sure. So, what's one thing, if I can ask you, you wish more people understood better about what it's really like to live with dementia?
For me, it's that it isn't just about memory,
Yeah.
because my short-term memory is dreadful. I have to really think very hard about what I did yesterday, but my long-term memory is quite good. Um, I think also the other thing too is that people often say to me when I tell them that I live with vascular dementia, they say, "Oh, you don't look like you've got dementia." Well, what does someone with dementia look like?
Yeah.
It could be any one of us.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's about we need to educate people,
Mm.
but we also need to take away the fear because there is huge fear around getting a dementia diagnosis. A lot of people say they don't want to know, they wouldn't want to know, but it isn't just about the person who has the diagnosis, it's about their family, their friends, everyone affected by that diagnosis. So
Yeah.
that's two things, sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. No, I won't limit you. It's a safe space. You can say as many things as you want. But 2 points there then. Education, definitely we need to educate more people. When do you think that should start?
As early as possible.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of talks to primary school children about dementia because a lot of them have grandparents with dementia. And I just think you're never too young, really, to start talking about it. And years ago we had the big C and nobody would talk about cancer. Now we do talk openly about it, but the big D is out there, and I
Mm,
think because it's going to affect so many of us as time goes on, it's important that people know about it.
yeah.
Um, as I say, it would be lovely to take the fear away. I'm not sure how we do that, except perhaps by having examples of people who can live well with dementia.
Yeah.
What I would caveat with that is, though, that I'm very mindful when I do community speaking that very often I'm talking to groups of people who have loved ones who are much further on their journey than I am. And it might not sit well with them when I'm
mm,
talking so positively about my life
mm,
because their loved one doesn't even know who they are. I get that. That's my future, and I get that for a lot of people, their loved ones don't live well with dementia, but I do. And I think it's important for those of us that do to do what we can.
yeah. Everybody's journey is different, as we always agree with. We're not taking that away from anybody, are we? But maybe the fact that, that earlier diagnosis for those, like you say, that are maybe sat in that community event where you're speaking, if they maybe have had an earlier diagnosis, they may have been in a position like yourself where they could have enjoyed life as much
Mm,
as possible. It may just be the fact that, unfortunately, their diagnosis has taken far too long. So the dementia has progressed rapidly and they've not had that part of their dementia journey like you are having. So, and,
sure.
and again, yeah, you've got to empathize with the fact that they're going to feel some anger maybe that they've missed out on that opportunity. But equally, you are doing the right thing by speaking up in those communities and educating for sure, for sure. So try and remove that stigma, if nothing else, which is the
Yes.
second thing. And trying to talk about it more will hopefully not eradicate the stigma, because I don't think that'll ever happen, but maybe just reduce the fear, and more people with lived experience talking about it, especially in a positive light like yourself, and many, many more that have been on the podcast as well, that there doesn't have to be that fear. The more that we do talk about it and the more that we get pushed for that diagnosis earlier, the more that we can, put things in place, strategies in place, or get on with it
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
such without
And and,
sounding
and
harsh.
also things like brain health.
Yeah,
Give people the opportunity to do things that will help stimulate their brains.
yeah,
I love crosswords and word puzzles, and I still do those regularly. And little things like that do help us.
yeah. Crosswords, I am rubbish at. I do like puzzles though, so maybe I should pick up another puzzle book, something with a bit of variety within it. But
Yes. Yeah.
crosswords have never
No.
been my thing. I'll leave that to you, Sue, I think.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any moments since your diagnosis that have maybe surprised you, maybe positives or silver linings that you didn't expect?
It's weird, but before my diagnosis, Sheila and I used to laugh about, people talk about glass half empty, glass half full. I
Yeah.
didn't even have a glass.
Okay.
And since my diagnosis, I have been much more optimistic about things. I mean, obviously, at the moment, things are very difficult for me,
Mm.
but I do try to be positive about things. And certainly, being involved with Alzheimer's Research UK is a real boost to my well-being, because I believe that there will be a cure. Maybe
Mm.
not in my lifetime. It's probably much too late for me. And I think, the complexities of dementia are huge. If you
Mm.
think about it, we can work on live liver, heart, lung, and all those diseases. You can't work on a live brain. So the researchers have got to go back to the drawing board, if you like.
Yeah.
But they are all doing that. And behind the scenes, there is a huge amount going on in research, with little breakthroughs every so often, little glimmers. I know that the latest drugs that aren't available to us, there's a huge amount of frustration around that. But at least those drugs have now been developed. It's a start.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And we had Ailing O'Neill on, who's a neuroscience graduate, and she was saying exactly the same thing. Just because it's not available, we've not got the funding, or it's not made the later phases when it comes to drug trialing, try not to see it as a setback, because we've got that far and we've learned so much up to that point, that we can then take what we've learned and then start again. But each time it's a positive and we're moving further forward, and try not to see it as a negative, which is sometimes, or more often than not, portrayed in the media. And we've got to just, give them our backing, that they are doing a tremendous job, a tremendous job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they are working tirelessly. There are so many researchers out there who are working on dementia, all the different types of dementia. And that's the other challenge for them. It isn't just one disease. It's hundreds of diseases, sometimes mixed dementias,
Yeah.
sometimes linked with Parkinson's, etc. So they have a huge challenge.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexities there that we probably don't understand as well.
Mm,
So when
mm.
they said you've gone from being not having a glass to a little bit, what do you think what changed there? What was it?
I think I think the involvement with the charity and realizing that I have a story to tell and I can make a difference. That sounds incredibly worthy, but it's really good for my well-being to be able to share my story, to share my experiences, and as I say, it's good for my ego.
Well, why not? And it's
Yeah.
it's it's using your experience for a purpose, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I think
Yeah.
everybody wants to feel that they have some purpose,
Yeah.
and obviously my current situation, I am struggling a bit with my purpose, if you like, having lost Sheila. But I think it's coming back, and I'm beginning to get back involved with the charity and starting to do things again, and I'm getting a good buzz from that.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you enjoy most? What sort of things for the charity do you enjoy more? Is it the speaking? Is it speaking to a certain group of people? What gives you that?
I like doing some of the fundraisers that I've done over the years. I mean, I've done ridiculous things. So the first fundraiser was running the London Marathon, and
Yeah.
I've run 2 half marathons. I had my head shaved, and I am one of the vainest people I know. Not quite as vain as Scott about his hair. He won't mind me saying that. I've had 2 tattoos of the charity's logo. Um,
Amazing. Where are they? Oh, look, on your forearm. Amazing.
so I had this one done, and then 2 years later they changed the logo.
They're doing it just for you. You do know
Yeah,
that, Sue.
well,
We'll change the
I
logo, and then Sue can do some more fundraising and get another
yeah,
tattoo.
yeah. I also I did an abseil down the red tower in the Olympic Park.
Oh, wow.
That was the scariest thing I have ever done. It was horrible. I really hated that. But I've raised a lot of money, and a lot of awareness. It isn't just about the money for me,
Yeah, yeah.
because I know, nowadays there's so many demands on people's money. There are so
Mhm.
many wonderful charities out there that need our money. So it isn't just about the fundraising. That's an important part, of course, but it's also about the awareness raising that I can do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the conversation that comes about what that crazy woman is doing, isn't it? And why is she doing it? And it's starting that conversation between people. You probably don't even realize how many people you're reaching with it, Sue, as well. Because if it just starts a conversation from somebody seeing you post on social media about what you're doing, that sparks a conversation about concerns that someone's got with a loved one, anything at all, it's that ripple effect, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the tattoo has actually served me very well because a couple of times I've had conversations with people because they've seen my tattoo. A lady in the supermarket recently saw my tattoo and said, "Oh, what's that about?" And it transpired that her parents both have dementia, and
Yeah.
we had a very, very good conversation,
Yeah.
which she messaged me afterwards saying how pleased she was that she'd met me,
Yeah.
and that was just a chance meeting in a supermarket queue.
Yeah.
And it's just going back to what the glass half full,
Yes.
well, the glass completely brimming over at the moment. Well, no, not at the moment.
Yeah.
It is about my ego, and I don't mind admitting that. I went to drama school as a child, but I stopped going because I didn't like the other children because they were all from private schools. So I stopped going. But I think I probably should have been on the stage. I
Yeah.
like performing. I like being out there, if you like.
Oh,
I get a buzz from that.
maybe there's another challenge in there somewhere that can stroke the ego and fundraise that's related to the stage.
Or go
Maybe.
on traitors.
Oh yeah. Did you start watching that last night? Let's not even.
No,
Let's
let's
not.
not.
No. Let's not go there. But yeah, let's see what Scott can throw at you in that form, maybe.
He could become my agent instead of my friend.
Yeah, yeah. So sharing your story can be powerful, but also emotional, I'm sure. How do you look after yourself while being still such that strong voice for others?
I think one of the things that I'm very conscious of, I had some grief counselling when Sheila first passed away, and the grief counsellor talked to me about prioritising and pacing. And
Mm.
that's what I'm learning to do now. I'm learning to say no to things,
Yeah.
which initially, again, Sheila would often say to me, "Why have you taken that on? You're going to be exhausted." And I felt that I would be letting people down. So
Mm.
now I'm getting much better at saying no, or saying, actually, I can do that, but could we make it in a few days' time or in a month's time?
Yeah.
And sometimes ducking out of things and saying, I'm really sorry, I can't do that. I'm too tired. I'm too exhausted. I also rely on my friends a little bit and my family to just keep tabs on me, if you like, and to see how I'm doing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay.
I need to move the computer because the sun is going to be in my
Yeah,
eyes.
you do that. That's fine.
Actually, I'm going to put the blind down. Can you hang on
Yeah,
one
of
sec?
course I can. Is that better?
Oh, that's
You're right.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
Is that
jump back.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to jump back in with a comment on that, actually. Bear with me. Just talking about that prioritizing and pacing and learning to say no, that's a life skill for anybody. If you
Yeah.
are a person, I mean, I get told this a lot, as in, I am just learning to start to say no. I am very much if I've committed to it, I'm in it, I'm doing it, and I find it really difficult. Like you, don't like letting people down, but you've got to put yourself first
Yeah.
in any stage of life, whether you are fit and well or not, but more so yourself. And I'm really pleased that you can do that. And we had that conversation at the start before we started recording, didn't we? If you feel like you need to stop the conversation, we said that's absolutely fine. I can
Yeah.
completely appreciate that. You've got to put yourself first. And I think you're
Yes.
doing the right thing by doing that.
I think, at the moment, I'm in self-preservation mode,
Hmm.
and I think one of the things that I'm still seeing a counsellor. It's not the grief counsellor. I'm seeing a different counsellor now. And one of the things I've been talking about is I don't know whether it's my dementia. I don't know whether it's self-preservation, but I do struggle to recall Sheila, to bring her to mind.
Hmm.
And initially, I felt incredibly guilty about that because, of course, I miss her terribly. But I think thinking about her is too painful.
Hmm.
And so, whether it's my dementia or whether it's self-preservation, I don't know. It doesn't matter what it is, but I think that's what's helping me at the moment get through this difficult time.
Yeah.
And hopefully, in time, I can look back and I can start looking at Facebook memories and photos and not get upset,
Yeah.
but look back on the brilliant happy times. We were together 32 years. That's a lot more than some people get,
Absolutely.
but it makes it really hard too.
Yeah. 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 And she's here, right? She's right in
Yeah,
your chest and
yeah,
surrounding you
yeah,
and driving you forward in doing everything that you're doing to be an advocate for anybody with dementia. She is right behind you, flying that flag. You're flying that flag together, whether
yeah,
she is here in body or in spirit. I
yeah.
100% believe that. 100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do too. I do.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think she'd actually be very proud of how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I'm going to get upset.
No, it's absolutely fine. It's
No,
absolutely fine. And that's a natural thing. So
yeah, yeah.
it's a safe space. You are
Yes,
in safe hands, trust me.
thank you.
From your perspective, what do you feel needs to change in society, in how society supports or talks about people with dementia?
I think it goes back to what I said earlier about educating people.
Mm,
And I think it's about, as a society, having less fear of dementia and trying to involve people living with dementia in everyday stuff,
yeah.
not writing us off. I don't know if you know, but I was in a TV program called The Restaurant That Makes Mistakes, which was aired in 2020, or was it 2019? I can't remember now. But it was on Channel 4, and there
Okay.
were 14 of us with a diagnosis of dementia. And we ran a restaurant in Bristol for 5 weeks, and
Yeah.
we welcomed in members of the public, etc. And the whole purpose of the program was to show that people living with dementia are not necessarily on the scrap heap. We still can contribute. And I think that's becoming more obvious now. Initially, I was very anxious about being on the program because I didn't know anybody else who had dementia,
Okay.
apart from this elderly neighbour who had
Mm,
since passed away. And I've still got some very good friends from that program, and several of them are doing as I do and advocating and speaking and encouraging people that we can still contribute and we can still be a useful member of society.
was that fun running the
It
restaurant?
was, it was, but it was exhausting.
Yeah, I can
Um,
imagine. Yeah.
the sad thing about it is that it was on at the same time as Love Island.
Oh,
And the sad reflection of our society is that more people wanted to watch Love Island than The Restaurant That Makes Mistakes.
yeah.
There are clips on YouTube, actually, although Channel 4, it was on 4 on demand. It's no longer available, but there are clips on YouTube which you can find. And
Yeah.
there were some very, very funny moments from that, which bring a smile to my face. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it now. I'd be way too tired now to
Mhm.
be able to do that. But it was a really good experiment,
Mm.
and it was done by the TV company who did Old People's Home for was it called Old People's Home for Toddlers? I
All
can't
right.
remember what it was
Okay.
called now. Sorry, it was another Channel 4 documentary where they took toddlers into a care home and showed how it helped both the
Yes.
toddlers but
Yeah.
also the older people. Um, and the TV company who put it together was so supportive. It was really, really, it was fun, but it was also exhausting.
What was the feedback from people that were coming in the restaurant just out of interest? What was their
Well,
reaction?
we had a cross section. We had the members of the public coming in, and people were curious. I think they were curious to see how we were, how we were going to manage.
Mm,
But they also took part in some of the fun things that we did. So it was in Bristol, and the Bristol Bears rugby team came in, and so we had a table of 10 that we had to serve, and that was a nightmare. You know, we could cope with tables of 2 or 4, but give us a table of 10.
Yeah.
But you know, we had jokes. So when people came up to pay at the till, and they hand over a credit card, and they were about to put their PIN number in, and I'd say, "Oh, don't worry about covering up because we won't remember what the number is anyway." You know, just trying to
Yeah.
keep some humour in it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, I couldn't do it now. I'd be too tired.
And going back to that, because we mentioned again the education and educating society, who do we put that responsibility to? Like, whose responsibility is it, do you think?
I think it's everybody's responsibility. I think, sorry, that's a politician's answer, isn't it?
Well,
But I think, you know, it's up to those of us living with dementia who are able to share. I think the healthcare profession. I think carers. I mean, carers. What a huge job carers are doing, and you know, carers are saving, whichever government happens to be in power,
mm,
saving thousands and thousands of pounds by
mm.
doing care private, you know, doing one-to-one care with family members.
You
My
okay?
dog, my dog has just picked up her deer antler and she's about to crunch it, so I need to take it away from her.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
okay. Don't worry. Don't worry.
No, Sappy, darling. Sorry, my sweetheart. No.
They are quite noisy, those, aren't they, when they start flicking them around?
Yes.
I've got two border collies, and
Oh, have you?
the youngest Blue absolutely loves an antler, and it'll get
Oh,
thrown.
yeah.
He likes to chew it a bit and then just throws it, and then chases it, and then throws it again. Well, on a
Yeah.
hard floor, it's not
Yeah.
ideal, really, is it?
Yeah. So she's. I've put them out of her reach now.
It's all right. Just make 3:37.
So we were talking about education, weren't we? And
Yes, we were.
whose job is it? It's
Yeah,
everybody's job. I think it's everybody's job. Anyone who has an involvement with dementia of any sort or is affected by dementia, I think it's important. It's important to share the sad stories as well as the positives,
yeah.
you know, so that people know the realities.
Yeah, it's like we said earlier, everybody's journey is different, but equally, everybody's journey is worthy of a share to show that everybody's journey is different, so that
Yes,
carers can relate to it and maybe normalize some things that are happening in their lives. So that's very
yes.
true, very true. So on a
I think
personal level, sorry, what helps
yeah,
you stay positive and hold on to hope, even more on the difficult days, I suppose? Is that a difficult one?
I think the fact that I think I'm making a difference, you know, a couple of days ago when I was feeling particularly low, I made myself go out for a run, and that just helped boost the serotonin levels a bit and get the endorphins flowing. Um, but it's very hard at the moment, I must admit. I do find it difficult, and again, going back to the stuff I do with the charity, I get a real kick from that, and I think that's a reminder to me that you know, I am making a difference, and
Yeah.
I want to continue doing that.
And it's a balance then, I suppose, isn't it? Going out for a run and filling your diary with different events for ARUK, it's balancing those out whilst not getting overtired and looking
Yeah,
after yourself and having
yeah,
the rest days.
yeah. And at the moment, I try to have something in the diary every day, even if it's meeting a friend for a dog walk,
Hmm.
going for a coffee with somebody. Just when Sheila first passed away, I made myself ridiculously busy, and partly because people say, oh, you know, keep busy so that you don't have time to think. But it took its toll on me. I was really quite poorly for a while. Um, I've also lost a huge amount of weight. I've lost 3 stone, which, if I'm honest, I needed to lose. Sheila was a wonderful cook, and she looked after me really well. But what I find difficult is when people say to me, "Oh, you look really well." I
Mm,
take it as an insult. I
okay.
take it that they think I'm not that I'm not grieving,
Yeah.
um, but I am. You know,
Yeah.
I am really struggling with the grief. But somebody said to me the other day, had I thought about seeing, she says, Sheila is still looking after me in all sorts of ways. Did I not see it as a positive that actually it was a gift that she has given me to lose weight so that I can run again? And I hadn't really thought about it like that.
That's
And
quite a
on the
good
good,
way of looking at it, isn't it?
yeah, on the good
Yeah.
days, I can see that, yeah, she is still looking after me.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't want her to die.
Yeah.
And yes, I needed to lose weight, and this wasn't the way that I wanted to do it. But this is where I am,
Mm.
what's that current expression? It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah. And
Yeah.
that goes back to what we said earlier, that she is around you. She's here and she's around you and she's driving you on. She's getting you out the front door and getting you running, whether you like it or not. She's the one
Yeah.
giving you that little nudge.
Yeah.
Or maybe a boot out the door, whichever.
Yes.
Would it more likely be a boot, would it?
No, she was very good actually. She On days where I was perhaps in a quite a low mood, she would often say, "Have you thought about going for a run?" And she would either get a complete mouthful from me, or I might say, "Well, I suppose I could try." And then I would come back grudgingly smiling and saying,
Yeah.
"Yeah, all right, all
Yeah.
right."
Yeah, you can have that one, Sheila. You were correct. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you could sit with someone who just received a dementia diagnosis, what message would you want to share with them?
First of all, I would talk to them about what they can still do, because all too often people say, "What can't you do? What are the negatives of it?" Let's talk about the positives. And I would talk to them about how they could make the most of those positives. Um, and that may not necessarily be easy for them, especially when they've first had their diagnosis. But it would also be about perhaps talking to their family members and
Mm,
seeing about what interests that person has. How can we make the most of those things that they can still do? I did a radio interview back in Hereford and Worcester. Well, I did several, but there was one particular one where the interviewer said to me, "Oh, so what can't you do now?" And I said, "Actually, let's turn that around. What can I still do?" Because it's about focusing on the positives.
yeah, there's a lot. We tend to jump on the negative, don't we? And I've said it before. Like when Nan got her diagnosis, it was sort of from a place of love. It was sort of Nan had been always been that caregiver to everybody, and it was sort of, oh, right, now it's our turn, and we just wanted to wrap her in cotton wool, and we'd go around to visit, and where Nan would entertain and want to make you lunch and a cup of tea, it'd be like, oh, no, we'll do it,
Yeah,
and we were
yeah,
stripping her of everything.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Taking away.
so annoyed with myself right now.
Well, but you can share that with other people, and hopefully that will pass on to other people.
Yeah.
Don't take away people's independence. But one of the things I often say, if people want advice about dementia, is embrace our reality.
Hmm.
For people who've got a loved one who perhaps thinks that somebody is still alive that isn't, don't argue with them about it, because
Yeah.
that's so destructive.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it, that sorry, I'm not making much sense with this, but I just think it's important to embrace people's reality where you possibly can, and where it isn't going to be morally
Yes.
dangerous for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do reiterate that quite a lot as well. A lot of
Yeah.
people say the same. There's no there's no benefit to it really, is there?
No.
To contradiction or
No.
correction. Like you say, unless it's a health and safety sort of situation, but
Of
there's no
course.
benefit apart from frustration for yourself as a caregiver and loved one, and agitation and probably frustration for the person with dementia as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Embrace the reality for sure. So, just finally, then, if you could offer one piece of advice or guidance to anybody listening, what would that be?
For me, it's about hope for the future. And I think that's what Alzheimer's Research UK gives me, is hope. And we have to hang on to that hope that we will find a cure, and that in future generations, people won't go through what people are currently having to go through.
Hmm. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. And AR UK are absolutely honoured to have you as an ambassador, Sue. They truly, truly are. I can't wait to see what your next challenge is, or maybe just need to speak to AR UK about changing the logo again and see where you have your next tattoo. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your experiences. I really appreciate it. And take care of yourself.